Basketball fans, the basketball addicts are back at it after a big Toronto Raptors win down in New Orleans.
A road win.
A road win.
Yes,
Well,
a road win.
Akil Augustine, your boy Shep, Unc Paul Jones, talking Raptors brand basketball, jumping into it. Obviously, this is about the young guys. This is about the rookies. So let's talk about it. Let's break down their performances in the player development rebuild year. The big story was Jacoby gets his start, but let's start with Sherm's guy. Let's start with Jamison Battle and the performance that he had. I'm going to talk to Shep first and foremost because we've been talking a little bit about this guy. We got to give him his moment in the sun because that was a huge game, career high. What was he, 6 of 7, 7 of 8?
7 of 8, I think, 6 of 7 from 3.
Huge game. But I'll say this, and I said on a broadcast last night as well, it's not just him making shots. It's a confidence that he plays with. Every time that ball touches his hands, Jonesy, I feel like it's a good shot. And I think we forget, this is a two-way guy, right? He was supposed to be spending time with the 905. I don't think that's going to be happening.
No. And they're going to have to change that contract. He's played more than 50 games.
He's put the entire league on notice, not just from this game, but he's just a guy that can make shots a variety of ways. And early in the season, I remember there was a presser where, Darko spoke about him and said he has proven that he can play at this level, at the NBA level. And then he was next up. And to speak. He was next up to speak. And he followed that up by saying, it's great to hear the coaches say that about me, but that confidence has to start with me. I have to believe that I can go out there and play at this level, make shots. And to me, early in the year, that spoke volumes to me because he's introspective and that level of confidence. Yeah, coaches can say anything, right? But it first starts with me, and he shows it every time he steps on that court. I was impressed.
He's got dog in him.
Where is he from?
He played at 3 different schools in college. The last one was Ohio State. He's a Minnesota kid. Interesting story. His mother worked in the Minnesota Timberwolves organization when he was younger. But
they should have drafted him because you got to give mad props to the Toronto Raptors for finding this guy.
And that's what I said yesterday. You watched the game. Jevohn and I were on the radio call, and Jordan Hawkins won a title at UConn, and Jamison Battle. They both played 22 minutes. If you came in from another planet and said, one of these two guys was on a national championship team and was a high draft pick in the NBA. Which one was it? Yeah. Right? And the other guy was undrafted. They kind of found him. He's supposed to be a two-way player. You'd have got that wrong. But what I love about the kid is, you talked about his confidence. He's got dog in him. It doesn't manifest itself in this
braggadocious.
No, it's ostentatious. But he is
look that up, ostentatious.
He is just quietly coming at you. He knows how to play. Yeah, I'm not saying he's devoid of mistakes. He does make mistakes,
but he spaces the
floor.
But
he does not let those impact his play. And you rarely see him make the same mistake twice.
All right, so you alluded to his time with the 905. You have anything you want to throw in on that, or you're good?
I was just about to say, he's doing a good job of putting pressure on the coaches, even when you have your roster back and everybody's healthy.
And pressure on Grady Dick.
If he's knocking that thing down at that clip, you have to find minutes for him. So he's doing what he's supposed to.
Okay, so you talked about the 905 stint that we expected Jamison Battle to have. Well, someone who got ready with the 905 was Jacoby Walther, who got his first start. Jonesy, talk to me about your impressions, because he's known as a shooter, did not shoot well, but you look at the final stat line, I could say it's a great game for him in his first performance.
It says two things to me. He didn't turn down shots. I'm a shooter. I'm out here to shoot. I'm going to shoot. And as our colleague Leo Routon said, and he used to tell Jevohn when he was playing on the national team, make till you miss till you make. If you're a shooter, that's your credo.
And he didn't force. These were in the offense shots.
He took the shots that were presented to him. He didn't always make them. But the other thing that stands out for me is he found a way to impact the game without having his strength come to the forefront.
If you take away your strength, what else can you do?
And I always say it. I'm a golfer. It's like battling your way around the course without your best swing and still getting a good score.
Him and Scotty did the same thing all night, right?
I think we have to call a spade as well. This was the best we've seen him play, right? You remember him at Summer League. He didn't look the greatest in Summer League, right? Early part of the season, didn't look the greatest and has been banged up. But, he came out, his first basket, took his first shot, knocked it down with confidence. And to me, didn't shoot the three ball well, but you mentioned him doing some of the other things.
Yeah.
And the 11 rebounds,
yeah,
for at his size, and a couple of those rebounds, he just jumped up above the rim, above the other 9 players on the floor, and just corralled the basketball, vice gripped it, and it was like, okay, he's playing bigger than he actually is. So, you look at those things to me, and they tell you a lot more about how engaged and active a player is. It's not always about shots being made.
The other thing, too, that I think we need to give credit to are the coaches. What Darko's instilled in these guys, how he believes in them, and the developmental coaches, the people working with them, like, hey, man, chop wood, carry water. Your time's going to come. We just don't have to get ready, stay ready. And both of these kids last night did a terrific job.
I'll be the first to say it, even on air. I questioned him being in that starting lineup yesterday.
Right.
Like that decision there, and he came out right away and proved me wrong. And I'm man enough and humble enough to say I was wrong. Like, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
On it. On it. All right, so ostentatious. To attract attention, admiration, or envy by being overly elaborate, obvious, or gaudy. Shouts out to Paul Jones for the $10 word. And now we hand you off to the very
That's all it's worth, 10?
The very unostentatious Jamison Battle.
Jamison, talk about your journey to get here, and you have this opportunity where you're ready for. What are you doing outside of the gym that's kind of keeping your mind fresh and kind of active for these moments that come?
Yeah, one of the big things I'd like to do is journal. I feel like that's something where, it's just a release. Every night you just come sit down and just talk about your day and just let go of all feelings that you have and just reflect. And I think that's one thing I love to do is read back and reflect on times that I've gone through. And I have times from 2 years ago at Minnesota, I have times from last year at Ohio State, and I have times from now where I can just sit there and read. And I think it's like I talked about with you earlier, it's just staying present in the moment, having a neutral mindset where you're never too high, you're never too low, you're right in the middle. And I kind of use it as a car analogy where you're in neutral, ready to go forwards or ready to go backwards, because that's a possibility as well. But in the end, you have to learn. You just have to keep learning. I think that's something that I'm just trying to do, trying to be a sponge and just take everything in. And then for me, like going back to the neutral thing, I'm ready to move forward. But, when there's times of doubt, when there's times of, mishap and failure, you're going to move backwards. But then it's what you do after you move backwards to get back forward. So just staying neutral, staying present in the moment.
You guys probably took the most threes you've taken all year in that first quarter, and it wasn't going super well. And then you sort of started the avalanche. What does it mean for you to get going and to get your teammates going?
Yeah, I think it means a lot, but I think it's just, coming off the bench, you have to bring a spark and you have to bring something. I think that's what my mentality is, but I think that's what everyone's mentality is. Whether or not you're starting, whether or not you're on the bench, you got to bring something. And I think that's what we did. And I think it wasn't our game plan to get a lot of shots up just because of how they help. They're helping a lot from the bottom guy, and that pull behind up top of the key is open, or they play in two with the guy in the corner as well. So we knew that was going to be in the game plan, and then eventually, Ochai hit a lot of big shots tonight, and then myself, I hit some as well. But then it's just trusting the game plan, trusting what the coaches have for us, and just going out there and trying to execute it.
Inostentatious, right? Not un.
Yeah, I think it's in.
Okay, all right. So there you go. Jonesy.
We get Jake to
Jonesy's still teaching them. All right, so still more to talk when it comes to Raptors basketball. We got to talk about Ochai Agbaji, who had a really terrible game. Not against the Celtics, the game after that. Who was that?
Detroit.
Shout out producer Jake for the Detroit. And was called out by head coach Darko. Yes. Said, if you're going to score 0 points, you can't have one rebound. Well, he rebounded. He bounced back. So let's talk about how important this is for Ochai's confidence, especially, Shep, the year he's having. It's a pivotal year. It's a contract year. And the Raptors, they re-upped. They invested.
Yeah. I thought this was good. This was a great response from Ochai because when you look at how he was last year, right? You could tell he could play, but for him it was between the ears, right? It was
can you shoot?
Yeah, it was everything between the ears, confidence, but skill, athletic ability, his ability to cut. It was all there. And this year he got off to a great start. And against Detroit, really didn't play well. Defensively, wasn't as engaged as we're accustomed to seeing him. And Coach Darko flat out said he didn't mince words with what he expected from him. He said he flat out needs to play better. The very following game, Jonesy, he's engaged defensively. He's knocking down shots.
The shooting.
And he's become a knockdown guy. It's almost like you get him a good shot, you kick it out to him, and this is a high percentage good look.
And that was the question mark for him moving forward as a professional.
Yeah, and I think for some players, especially for a guy where it was a confidence issue, it was an ability issue, the fact that he was able to respond and a coach calling you out didn't rattle him.
Yeah.
That part is impressive to me.
Well, he played at a high-pressure program at Kansas where there were high expectations, and he won. And then he comes to the pros, and he's kind of trying to find himself. Listen, with Darko, quote, calling him out, it's probably something that Ochai's heard before. Like, you got to play better.
Self.
You got to play better, right? And normally when a coach comes out and says that in public, it's not something that the player's hearing for the first time. Like
You'd hope.
Well,
We've
yeah,
seen situations.
yeah. But like knowing what I know of Darko,
Oh yeah, for sure.
he's talking to the kid, and you know that's part of the development too. And to Jevohn's point, the bounce back though, like this is in him, and I wonder if looking back with as well as Ochai has played this year. Now his numbers have gone down a little bit since the middle of November, but I wonder if it's a case where that Detroit game was just a one-off.
You'd like it to be.
Flush it.
But if you are Ochai, let's look at it from this side as well. As a player, you want your coach to call you out because that means he cares. That means he has expectations of you. That means he has a plan for you to be in this rotation. He's thinking about you in the rotation.
He just wanted to think.
When he stops,
the big problem is when he stops talking about you.
Exactly.
You have bigger issues then because you're going to be at the back of the bench, sitting down, watching everybody else play.
He's thinking about me.
Good.
What are we talking about again? My bad. All right.
Good players want to be coached.
Okay, speaking of good players that want to be coached, RJ. This is a guy, Raptors got their first road win, and RJ got his first good road performance. Some people say if RJ has a good game, the Raptors will win on the road. Let's talk about him because, I don't think much should change from home to road, but obviously something does. So how do you explain away his good performance, and what are you happy about the most, Jonesy?
That he keeps with it. He just kind of, it's. We talk about development, and we're the focus is on Grady and Ochai and some of the
because New York thought he was who he was. We're like he's a finished project.
But RJ's developing here too.
Yeah,
and he's kind of getting back to some of the things that made him successful before he got to the NBA, and some of those things were put on the back burner.
Like the playmaking and creating.
Now that he's back and he's handling the ball, he has to kind of reestablish them and then develop them even further. And I think that's what we're seeing with him.
It's kind of funny, though, because this is a ball movement team. It's predicated on ball movement, right? But, recently we've seen, RJ and Yak in the pick and roll has kind of become a staple of this offense.
Nice little connection. But I think what's also happened is that RJ has trusted the coaching staff. They've given him some freedom, and he's also bought into the idea of if I play make, it's going to open up my offense.
Yep.
Right, because now teams can't play as honest on me. They can't play as aggressively on me. And even in transition, there was a lob he threw to Scotty yesterday. And I like that type of transition basketball, 2-on-1, 3-on-2. But when RJ has the basketball pushing it the length of the floor, teams are naturally now going to shade to that left hand. That now you have Scotty on the right side of the floor, opens it up for him to get an easy lob. So I think for RJ, that the challenge is going to be.
I think he threw into Ochai last night.
He threw into Ochai as well. The challenge is going to be as you got Scotty back in the lineup. As you get Quick, Kelly, all these other guys. It's
depth
to maintain that level of play and not get too caught up in hunting shots and hunting your offense. Keep creating.
And that's just it. He's doing these things now with the opportunity because other people are out. That doesn't mean you forget about those things or you allow them to slip or to dissipate when the other guys come back, because that's what makes your team better. The fact that he can do that. So I love what I'm seeing. I said it about Jamison Battle. RJ's the same way. He's got dog in him. He's going to come
just
at
want
you.
to win. They just want to win.
He's competitive. He's going to come at you. He wants to win.
Raps get a big win. We've been grilling Darko all year after losses. Let's let the man have his moment after a big dub on the road.
So you took threes, like we talked before the game. Were you happy that they, after the rough shooting start, they continued to take them when they were there?
Absolutely. Every time out, we talked about it. From the start of the game, I thought that our threes were good shots and rhythm shots. And the main message is keep trusting it. Keep trusting it that we move the ball, that we find open man, and that we're ready to shoot the ball. And that was a big one for us. 16 assists in the first half, and ended the game with 38 assists. That's the way we want to move the ball, and we gotta be ready to shoot.
Was Jacoby in the starting lineup to replicate some of what Grady might be able to do off the ball?
For sure. I think it was an opportunity to see him how he looks with the starting unit there. I think it was an opportunity for him to go out there and have his first NBA start. He's been doing a really good job lately, playing in with our 905 program. Great job in the practices, workouts, and he earned this opportunity today.
What did you think of how he handled himself?
I thought he did really good job. He several times he ended up guarding CJ McCollum, which is one of the hardest matchups you can have in this league. I thought that he did a really good job of avoiding screens, finding ways to make it hard on CJ, and I thought offensively that he was aggressive, that he was looking for the opportunities to shoot the ball. I like that he was in a couple of pick and rolls as well, that he was able to create there. I thought it was really good game that he had.
It's Damon Stoudemire, and thanks for watching the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe for more.
Stoudemire launches a three, knocks it in!